Well, Imran Awan, most recently employed by former chair of the DNC, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, also may have exposed congressional information online. He's facing multiple federal charges, including bank fraud, but also these accusations of allegedly double charging the House for IT equipment and many other things now surfacing. Republican Congressman from Florida, Ron DeSantis, joins us now. And you think there may be a national security risk here?
Well, if you look at this, is clearly some type of money laundering operation when you have this CIA car dealership, which really didn't have cars, and they had a fake staff.
And that was the name they gave it, CIA,
right.
So people know what we're talking
Exactly.
about. It's not a CIA car dealership.
Well, but I mean, I think people look at that, and they're probably doing that for a reason, or potentially were doing it for a reason. So you have a situation, they're all making, the whole family, Awan, his wife, brothers, they're making like 160 grand a year, supposedly do this IT work. So that's equivalent to the highest ranking staffers in Congress, chiefs of staff. These guys, Awan was a little older. One of his brothers was like in his early 20s. He was working at McDonald's part-time. So this whole thing just right there stinks. But then what happened to all this money? And really there's no good explanation for it other than this is money that's being sent overseas. They had deep relationships with people in Pakistan, would travel there. The first $100,000 for the car dealership was given to them by an Iraqi with ties to Hezbollah. So what was going on in the House? Why didn't anyone see what these guys were up to? What were they doing with the data that they had access to from members of Congress? And where was this money going? And was it going for a nefarious purpose?
Yeah, because there are allegations that they were logging into accounts of members they weren't working for. They were never hired to work for on the Hill. If you read this piece in the Daily Caller by Luke Rosiak, it talks about these car dealerships, these businesses that don't seem to make much sense. The financial trail is very fuzzy. The explanations are very strange. Here is what Luke said today about what this looks like when you look at the story of these guys.
This was a used car dealerships or a classic money laundering operation that is used by Hezbollah. Pakistani intel like ISI uses them as well.
So you think that may have been what was happening here, and I know you're pressing the DOJ for some answers, or at least for them to take a different look at this.
Right, because Awan is under indictment now, but not for anything national security related.
Right.
There's investigation into the Democrats within the House and the House Admin Committee, which is important, but that's not going to get into the national security implications. So I think we need to do that, and I do think we need more answers than we've been given.
I want to ask you, too, because we have talked, you and I, a lot about Israel, this move that the president finally has announced about recognizing Jerusalem as the capital. The United Nations not too happy. The Security Council held a vote earlier this week, the U.S. the only ones to veto and stand up against this. There'll be a vote again tomorrow. Here is what the president has said about what may go down at the UN tomorrow.
I like the message that Nikki sent yesterday at the United Nations. For all of these nations that take our money and then they vote against us at the Security Council, or they vote against us potentially at the Assembly. They take hundreds of millions of dollars and even billions of dollars, and then they vote against us. Well, we're watching those votes. Let them vote against us. We'll save a lot. We don't care.
You think he's going to cut off the money? Some of it, either to the UN or to any of these countries, because you know their vote's not going to be closed.
I love it. I mean, first of all, in 2016, the UN, out of 24 resolutions, 20 of them were against Israel. So there's one tiny little country, only democracy in the Middle East, and oh, by the way, the only Jewish state in the world, and the UN is pathologically focused on singling them out. And we've seen enough of it. I'm glad the president's saying enough with this. His decision to recognize Jerusalem was the right one. It was not necessarily an easy one because other presidents have promised it and they reneged on their promise. He kept his promise, and I think that was the right decision. And I look forward to Nikki Haley standing up for the the president's decision and standing by our friend Israel.
She says they'll be taking names tomorrow. Meanwhile, we know we've got a busy week. Try to work on getting the government funded. Keep us updated on that. But thanks for making time in the meantime to stop by.
Good to see you. Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you.